Hey, gorgeous people. Happy Friday, January 16th. Welcome to my closet. That's right. I'm going to be taping this show from the inside of my closet. Why? Because if there's one thing you need to know about me as a recovering theater kid, it's that I do love a campy visual gimmick. So, yes, today we are here sandwiched between one drapey black thing and another drapey black thing and 6 pairs of different types of Doc Martens, all because Pluto and I want you to think about what kind of things are hiding in your closet. Some other filming locations that I could have chosen but decided against would be the rug you've been sweeping everything under, maybe the graveyard, maybe the combination bathhouse graveyard, all very plutonic filming locations. But what I have available to me here is my spooky old closet. So let's get into it. As you guys know, tomorrow Venus moves into Aquarius to be the first of several planets that will move into Aquarius and conjoin Pluto. Right now we have Mars, the Sun, Mercury, and the Moon all together in Capricorn, forming up for a really potent new moon in Capricorn that happens this weekend on January 18th. But right after that new moon, that happens at the end of Capricorn season, at degree 28 of Capricorn, all of those planets move in to conjoin Pluto. Now, I did a longer video explaining these transits for Adam Allenboss's channel, Nightlight Astrology. That's going to be linked in the description. This video isn't about that. This video is about the feeling. It's about where we're all at right now in our hearts. So if you want to learn about the transits, go check out that video, but sit with me here for a little while longer and just feel into what I'm saying to you. All of these planets, the Sun, the Moon, Venus, Mars, and Mercury have been on a journey around the zodiacal wheel, and they've almost all just undergone a synodic reset, which is when they can join the sun and the sun burns them up, kills them, and then allows them to be reborn anew in the cycle. Immediately after that, they had their first test opposing Jupiter, having their vision and their philosophy tested. And the movement of these planets really feels to me like we are following, as ancient philosophers used to call the planets, wanderers. We are following a group of wanderers as they are traveling and trekking throughout the land, trying to accomplish some epic quest. And this moment here where they all meet Pluto feels a little bit like they've finally reached the villain's lair. And maybe Venus first raises her hand to rap on the door, but before she can even do that, the door opens and it's Pluto. And shocker, he's incredibly hot. And he is incredibly charismatic. And plot twist, he's been expecting them and he welcomes them into his lair. And in there, he probably delivers some kind of monologue that maybe changes our understanding of the journey we've been on. It changes our awareness of the terms that we've been playing under. It changes our awareness of the rules of the game that we've been playing this entire time. There are so many incredible movies that have a scene like this, but I'm thinking of something like Silence of the Lambs, or maybe the movie Seven, where our protagonist finally gets some kind of explanation for what's been going on. Let's take the movie Seven as an example, because in a more traditional plot structure, John Doe's surrender is the climax of the movie. But actually in this film, his surrender only furthers and deepens their quest to understand. It leaves them kind of with more questions than answers. I think another example that's going to pierce your heart like a dart if you're watching this channel is Ozymandias's iconic monologue in Watchmen after the deed is done. So the deed is already done. And again, in a traditional plot structure, that's the peak, that's the climax of what's going on. But actually, the climax comes a little later when we enter Ozymandias's lair and we learn about his motivations. And we can either agree or disagree with any of these iconic, complicated villains that I'm mentioning, but there's no doubt that hearing their side of the story complicates the narrative and actually deepens our understanding of what it is that we've been doing. Okay, but why the fuck does this matter? Well, let me tell you. Pluto has been in Aquarius since March of 2023. March through June of 2023, Pluto kind of dipped into Aquarius for the first time. And then from January through September of 2024, Pluto came in again. And then from November of 2024 on, Pluto has been firmly in Aquarius. So it's not like this is new energy, but all of this buildup here, all of these planets conjoining Pluto firmly in Aquarius, immediately followed by the first of a new series of eclipses in Aquarius that begins in February. This is a pretty big deal. You may feel like you have some understanding of what Pluto wants from you in Aquarius, and you probably do. Hence why we're in the closet. You probably have stuffed away some very, very strong, shrewd idea of what Pluto wants from you in Aquarius. And this lineup of planets that is conjoining Pluto at the end of January and the beginning of February is asking you to let that shit out of the closet. Open the closet door. Let that hoarder stack of crazy shit that you've put in there fall down around you, and finally go through it all and throw out what doesn't work and keep in a more precious manner the things that do work. So here's the thing I want you to think about as you're headed into all of these planetary conjunctions with Pluto. What hidden underlying motivations, what hidden and unexplored terms of engagement are you not yet aware of? And these are questions that could be for you. These are questions that could be for someone in your life. If you have somebody in your mind as I'm talking, these are definitely questions for that person. But these could also be questions that you ask Pluto directly. I get a lot of questions about how to engage with these archetypal energies, and the real answer that I have to give you is that the only way that makes sense is the way that makes sense to you. So if something is intuitively beckoning you, that is an idea that you should follow. But I'll share a few of the ways that I connect with Pluto. I found that the Plutonic archetype is incredibly accessible, and I actually will just pray to Pluto and ask for what I want. I will act fearlessly in service of transformation and change. Easier said than done, but after a lifetime of doing it, I think I'm finally getting the hang of it. Recording live from my closet, for example. I also make offerings to Pluto, and I do devotional acts of change and transformation, but more often than not, I'm offering money, but something rotted or purple or black will also do the trick. Here's another way that we can work with this. I have some journal prompts for you. Light a candle in the dead of midnight, maybe hit up that combination graveyard bathhouse that I mentioned, bust out your journal, and get to work. What truths have I already glimpsed but not yet agreed to pay for? Try to name the costs as precisely as you can, and what would change about the cost and the benefit if you accepted it fully? Which parts of me want power and which parts of me want innocence? Let those parts speak separately and notice where they reconcile and where they refuse to reconcile. If I were welcome to remove all the masks I was wearing at Pluto's table, what would I most fear being seen for? Don't think about what you would lose socially. Think about what you would be losing internally. What alliances and relationships am I currently maintaining out of habit rather than strategy or desire? What relationships do I have that are transactional without even being acknowledged as such? Which of my desires tend to become dangerous when I minimize them or pretend that they are harmless? Try to be specific here, because ignored desire tends to rot. What am I hoarding because it gives me leverage? What information and what gifts and what resources do I withhold from others because it would collapse illusions I rely on? What am I being invited to take responsibility for that I have been leaving up to fate? Where does that inevitability end and my personal choice begin? And what would it look like to enter and leave Pluto's hall changed, but not hardened? Define a power for yourself that does not require armor or calcification. Now, don't worry about answering every single one of those prompts. Try to really sit with them and answer deeply rather than broadly, because that is what Pluto wants. Know that at the end of the day, what Pluto really wants from us is not a shift in our habits or changing our minds. It is a bone deep transformation. Like, I'm thinking of the intro of True Blood, where we see that rotting fox corpse being eaten and decomposed. Like, decomposition is Pluto's goal, a complete disillusionment of the things that we thought made us us, and then the return to the earth and the transformation of us into fertilizer for something new and beautiful. That sounds really morbid, and obviously anything Plutonic can go there quickly. But keep in mind that Pluto's transit through Aquarius is going to last until 2043. So if you have planets in Aquarius particularly, but if you have planets in any of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, know that you still have 17 years left in this process. So what needs to happen today is not an immediate left turn. It's just the deepest, honest possible understanding of where you are right now. You don't have to know where it goes. You don't have to know how it ends. You just have to put one foot in front of the other in the most honest way possible. Now, if you've listened to all of this and you want more Pluto, what a little glutton for punishment you are, but I've got your back. A friend of mine and I recently recorded a guided astrological trance journey. My friend is a longtime shamanic trance practitioner, and she has the world's most gorgeous French-Canadian accent. She recorded a 45-minute guided trance journey to Pluto's hall to find out what Pluto wants from you and to try to commune with that energy. She did it with and without background music. You can download that on my website. Link is in the description below. I'm also hosting a live group call on Thursday, January 22nd for members of the 9 Lives community. So if you're not a member of the community, what are you even doing? Go check that out. That's where we all talk and let ourselves be weirdos and share astrological ideas and send pictures of our closets. All right, gorgeous people. Let me know in the comments what you think Pluto is surfacing for you in Aquarius. Have an incredible weekend, you guys. Don't get too spooky. I'll see you on Monday.